Welcome to Boise Song Talk. I'm James Coberly Smith. Give me just a second to set this guitar down. Thank you. Songs. What we're going to be doing on Boise Song Talk is we're going to be speaking with a number of the great local songwriters about how they write their songs. Now, they're all great live performers, and I encourage you to go out and see their live shows. However, we will not be emphasizing performance on this show. Instead, we'll be speaking with them about how they write their songs. Now, let's go over and meet tonight's special guest, Penn Sky.
Hey, James.
Good to have you, youngster.
Good to be here.
All
Appreciate
right,
you
my
having me.
friend. All right. I tell you, I've had the great pleasure of seeing you sing and play many times. I've seen you perform solo and with your great band, the Oliphants. Mm-hmm. And the thing that is remarkable to me is you consistently are getting better in everything. The singing, the writing, the playing. It's fun for me to watch. Your harmonica playing is fantastic. You sometimes play it without the thing, too, when you're accompanying. You're really good at it.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
You had a great debut CD called Prelude to Hindsight that received a lot of great reviews. Mm-hmm. And recently you had the song The Trees included on the Boise 150 CD, and it received significant praise from the Boise Weekly.
Yes.
Now, to get started tonight, sometimes I save the really important questions for later, but tonight I'm going to give you an important one right out of the gate. Your band Oliphants, spelled Oliphants.
Right, the Oliphants, yes.
What's an elephant?
Well, that is an important question.
It is.
An elephant, my understanding, an elephant is an elephant-like creature from one of the Tolkien books. Oh. It was a spontaneous naming. I was playing a solo gig at a local venue, and I asked Megan Kelly Waters, who's my percussionist, and Matt Gambrell, who's kind of plays lead and fiddle and guitar. Hey, what are you doing? Stop on down, jump up on stage, and it was just such a good feeling. We were like, hey, we should make this a band. And someone said, what are you going to call it? And I said, the Oliphants, because I was watching Lord of the Rings with my kid that day.
There it is. I've always wondered. I've gone, what the heck is this thing? That was important, buddy. All right. Now, it's funny. I've spoken with you so many times, mm-hmm. and I've never asked you how long you've been doing music. How'd you get started?
Well, I was in a band in college. I kind of dabbled in music before that. As a kid, my parents wanted me to play violin. I played it for, a couple weeks before I was like, eh.
Violin, huh?
In third grade, I tried cornet and, never really took to it. I always sang in choir, but felt like, if I'm standing next to the guy who can sing, maybe I can just mimic them. Uh-huh. And then in college, I picked up the bass. I actually was a singer in a band before college, and I was horrible. I was atrocious. And I realized quickly that I needed to learn how to play bass before they got rid of me. So I learned how to play bass and started a band called Mr. Picasso Head. And played around for, 3 or 4 years around the Detroit, Chicago, Ann Arbor, Toledo, Ohio area. Uh-huh. And we did okay. And then I moved out to Idaho years later, and I've always written songs, wrote songs for the band, but I've never was really a good guitar player. And then I ended up having to spend a lot of time, a lot of downtime, and have my guitar there, and had a lot of angsty things to contemplate, and mm-hmm. That was that.
So, can you remember the first song you wrote? I don't expect you to be able to.
I can. I actually, well, I can't remember how it goes, but it was a 3-chord. Not that any of my songs are really any more than 3 chords, But it was a 3-chord little. I would almost say it was kind of a throwback to a 50s doo-wop song about she runs away from the kind of love that I'm thinking of, something like that. I mean, it was a horrible song.
Hey, but it got you started.
It got me started, and this was actually in community college, and we had this great instructor, guy named Morris Lawrence, who was a fantastic clarinet player, Afro-musicologist, and he used to play with like Dizzy Gillespie and stuff. He's an old jazz guy, and sadly he's passed away, but he was a great influence.
All right. Well, I tell you what, maybe we ought to just hear one of these Lee Penn Sky songs. What do you think?
Sure, we could hear one of these Lee Penn Sky songs. Let's see.
I know you had said you weren't sure which
yeah, I
ones
wasn't
we
sure
were
which
gonna do.
what songs to play.
So I didn't take you in any direction.
I know. I will play this song. One of the things that I use as a writing tool, see, I'm segueing for you.
I appreciate it.
Is I tend to listen to other people that I admire, not necessarily mainstream artists, but and think to myself, not how do they write, how can I write like them, but how do they think like they think? And then I kind of let my mind think how I think they would think.
So, now you've got me interested. So, in a sense, you are going into character.
In a way, it's a way to kind of break from my norm. We all write how we write because that's how we think. And so I can never write like you, though I may practice to try and write like you. I might try and emulate you. I might stalk you at night to see how you, drive your car and where you eat. And but I can never write like you. I can only emulate you because I can't think like you.
That's interesting.
So, chasing down that thought, I was like, well, I need to learn to expand the way I think. So I'm still thinking as I am, but I'm pushing my boundaries a little bit because I'm saying, I wonder how they would think about this subject. So that's what led me into this song.
Interesting.
It's called Pirates and Scoundrels. I don't have to pay tribute to the pirates and the scoundrels, 'cause they have gathered all the kings and with them do take counsel. They're fat and happy on the product of their greed. They're granting title for the sums of all their deeds. See, you're fattened on your pay, gathered in the shadow of your shame, gathering the shadow of your shame. See, you're fattened on your pain. I don't have to pay the toll to that toll taker, though it is a steep road. I believe that I've seen steeper. The pride of Alabama, well, they've packed up and gone. They're all wondering why you cannot catch on. They see you're fattened on your pain, gathered in the shadow of your shame, gathering the shadow of your shame. They see you're fattened on your pain. smile just above the waterline on the horizon. Just above the waterline, it's your smile just above the waterline. Pirates have all retired, 'cause business was so good. And your license it expired, but I guess you knew it would. You've paid for our dreams with pearls you've never had, and I would lend them to you if you needed them that bad. I see you're fattened on your pay, gathered in the shadow of your shade. Gathering the shadow of your shade. I see your fat on your pay. See your smile just above the waterline on the horizon. Just above the waterline, it's your smile just above the waterline.
Nice. I like that. Just above the waterline. Your smile. Very cool.
Thanks.
Very cool. All right. Pop quiz for you, my friend.
Uh-oh, I wasn't good.
Never had one on the show before. This year first. You once told me, I think you had seen some of these previous shows, and you said there's one question you always ask people. Do you know what that is? What was that you said?
What the beginning song? What isn't it? The beginning. What would you tell a beginning?
Prize at stake.
Oh darn. What would you tell a beginning songwriter? What advice would you have for a beginning
shoot,
songwriter?
I do always ask them that. I tell you what, I'll give you the prize anyway. That's not really the answer.
That wasn't the answer.
It's a double A battery for you, buddy.
Oh, excellent.
And it's a good one too.
Oh.
No,
I can't
what
lick
I
it.
was going to ask, because I will ask you that later. No, you had said to me that I always ask, do you do the lyrics?
Oh,
or
that's
music
right.
first?
The music or the lyrics first.
So, what's the case with you?
It depends. I think different things inspire a song. And I think songwriting is, in essence, an intuitive process, though it can become an academic process. And so, for me, it is mostly an intuitive process. And so I don't necessarily have I do A, and then I do B, and then I do C. A lot of times, I'll be driving along, and I'll have a phrase come to me, and I'll almost kill myself trying to write down the phrase, or kill other people. Don't do this at home.
Right.
Don't do this at home.
That's true.
Actually, luckily, I now have a smartphone, and I can just hit some button and talk into the smartphone.
Good.
But oftentimes it comes from a phrase, and then some music, and then more lyrics, and then some music, and then more lyrics. Sometimes I'll be, just playing my guitar, just kind of grooving along, and I'll say, "Wow, that's I like that groove," and then I might pull out an old, like an old phrase that I've written down somewhere, and that might spark the flow, I guess.
So if you're doing it, you get a spark, and it could be a lyric or a melody, I guess, driving along, you get that. So you have this little bit of something. Now, would you usually then find yourself continuing to pursue that particular song for a while? Or do you sometimes get a certain distance and park it somehow and come back to it, or?
I try to chase down that whole flow. Sometimes I'm not able, and I've learned some tricks about that.
Tell us.
I will. Actually, this last song was one of those songs. I was driving along through the mountains, going to Portland, and driving through mountain passes and trying to record that. And there's a trick I've learned, which is oftentimes we are our worst critics, right? We're always in our own head saying, "That was junk. Now, why would you use that line?" Well, and that oftentimes kills the flow. That kills that whole process of exercising that song out of you. What I've learned to do is try to keep that bug out of my head until I'm completed that whole flow, until I've kind of chased down everything I can chase down from it. And then I let that in, and oftentimes that starts it again. That starts that flow, because then I have room to kind of look and see what I've written and done and kind of say, well, that line's not so good. What if I change it to this line and it keeps me going? But there are times where I will park it and I will come back, with those are usually the ones that it's the music first. Well, I get the music and then I'll go back to that phrase and it'll spark that flow again, which is great, because sometimes it doesn't happen,
Interesting. So if you get the lyrics first, then what's your process for putting the music to it? Or is that?
I think a lot of that comes from melody. So if I have the lyrics, usually the lyrics and melody the vocal melody kind of comes, about the same time.
Oh, okay.
And so the vocal melody typically informs my music.
Gotcha.
Mostly.
Okay,
Yeah.
Very good. Ben Schultz, local guy, does so many great things. In the Boise Weekly, he had commented, and by the way, Ben also had, in addition to doing the column for the Boise Weekly that he did, he has a great site called Here Comes a Dump Truck, where he does a lot with Boise musicians. He does a great job.
That's right. It's a great column.
I'm going to talk to him about, can't we call it Here Comes a Magic Wagon or something? It's like,
no,
come on,
Here Comes the Dump Truck. I like it. I like it.
He does great stuff.
Yes, he does.
For people, and we all appreciate it. Anyway, Ben, in reviewing the trees, as I said, that got such a great review, his quote was, "Penn Sky's lyrics are at once plain spoken and courtly, and his gritty baritone vocals sound as strong as the trees of which he sings." There's another review of a previous of your original CD by Connie Smith in the Rambles review, and she made comments such as, "The songs are in every aspect simple, but are definitely not simplistic. Recognizable, playable chord patterns. Why shouldn't contemporary music be easy to play and is interesting to hear at the same time?" I thought those were really insightful about your art form. I liked that they approached it that way. So now I feel like I want to hear another one. I'm getting so fired up with all these big words and stuff.
Well, I mean, to kind of speak to that, I do think musically it's important to keep it simple. I think that some songwriters, especially when you're just starting to write songs, you try to jam too much in. And you try to say things in very complex ways. And I think that can be distracting from your message. Not that I don't say things poetically, or try to say things poetically or metaphorically, but I don't think it has to be complex. In fact, all my favorite songwriters they write simply. So this song is a simple song. There's not a lot in it in terms of, there's just 3 verses, well, 4 verses maybe. Not a lot of words. Just some repeated chorus, simple repeated chorus. But this song is about, my wife told me that we were having another baby, our second one, 8 years after we had our first. And this was my response to her. June and the mountains are holding their snow. The rain is still in the air. Clouds roll in, they go. Be a lot of wildflowers up there. Fires may come later in the season. I can't worry about that now. Everything happens for a reason. So don't worry out loud. Good year, wildflowers. Good year for wildflowers. Good year for wildflowers. Good year for you. Let's go walking through those mountains. As soon as July has cleared the way, we'll climb some peaks and we'll do some shouting. Let those flowers have their day. Good year for wildflowers. Good year for wildflowers. Good year for wildflowers. Good year for you. I'm not gonna worry about no fires. Oh, they're sure to come. As long as there's some blooms on those spires, I can embrace what's begun. Good year, wildflowers. Good year for wildflowers. Good year for wildflowers. Good year for wildflowers. Good year, wildflowers. Good year for wildflowers. Good year for you. I think it'll be a good year for me too. It's a good year for me too.
Nice.
Thank you.
Let's go right to, if you have a bit of advice for beginning songwriters or veteran songwriters, what might that be?
Well, write.
Because believe it or not, we're winding toward the end of the show.
All right.
I knew this would happen.
I would write as much as you can. I would always write stuff down. Don't throw it away. And I would always go back to the idea of keeping your self-critic, keep that critic out of your head until it's appropriate to go back in and kind of construct your song. Keep it out of the flow.
Yeah.
Invest in good equipment. Like, I think a good guitar makes you play better, makes you sing better, makes you write better. So if you can afford it, get something that, because otherwise you get frustrated and you're not gonna play your instrument. Don't be afraid. Go out and write it and perform it. Write it and perform it. I think too many songwriters write it and then don't go perform it. And you don't have to be good. You just have to get it out there so that you get comfortable with the idea of letting that song into the world, and then letting people experience it, and they can own it then.
You're going to have to bring one into the world for us and let us experience it right now, buddy. Come on.
All right. This one's called Houston.
Here it comes. Lee Penn Sky. LeePennSky.com. www.leepennsky.com. Check them out.
Long way from Houston, long way on this road, long way from Houston, doing what I'm told, long way from Houston. I hate the sun's first rays, love her before the morning light. Don't want to love her in the day. I can't find it in me to go another mile.